She's just an ATM for us. Laura's venomous shout sliced through the family dinner, her finger jabbing at Zendaya's radiant dark skin. The chandelier-lit room froze, Zendaya's eyes blazing with defiance against the cruel slur. David, her husband, rose to defend her, while Alex and Olivia smirked, echoing their mother's scorn. This explosive clash unveils a gripping tale of betrayal, where a black stepmom's sacrifices are trampled by a white family's prejudice. What fuels Laura's vicious attack? How will Zendaya, after years of unappreciated devotion, turn the tables with a bitter lesson? And what shocking twist will unravel their world? Dive into this story of justice and redemption. Subscribe to our channel for the latest heart-pounding tales and share in the comments where you're watching from. Your city might spark our next video. Stay for the stunning revelation that will keep you hooked till the end. In the quiet hum of a suburban evening, the glow of a modest home flickered with the warmth of dedication, where Zendaya, a 32-year-old black woman whose radiant dark skin shimmered under lamplight, poured her soul into a life not wholly her own. As a financial analyst, her days stretched long, her fingers dancing over spreadsheets while her heart anchored a family that often felt foreign. Married to David, a 40-year-old white man with a kind but conflicted gaze, she had stepped into the role of stepmother to Alex and Olivia, 18-year-old white twins, when they were just 5. After their mother, Laura, a 38-year-old white woman with a venomous past, abandoned them under the weight of her family's racist pressures. Zendaya's sacrifices were monumental, her overtime hours piling into a college fund nearing $500,000, a testament to her love. Yet the twins' cold whispers labeled her the black woman who pays, a sting she buried deep. David, though supportive, often faltered under the strain of his family's prejudice, his gentle defenses against Laura's slurs, like calling Zendaya a black maid in front of the twins, lacking the force to shift their disdain. Zendaya's resilience, however, held firm, her hope that time would soften their hearts driving her forward, even as pain simmered beneath her poised exterior. The kitchen, with its worn oak table and scent of fresh coffee, became Zendaya's sanctuary, where she packed lunches for Alex and Olivia, each sandwich a silent vow to a family that rarely reciprocated. Years of missed vacations and skipped luxuries had built that college fund, a dream for the twins' future. But their casual dismissal, calling her efforts mere money from the black lady, cut deeper than she admitted. Laura's shadow loomed large, her return 2 years prior stirring old wounds. The twins, enthralled by their real mother's charm, began echoing her racist barbs, like refusing to invite Aisha, their 22-year-old black cousin, to gatherings because her kind doesn't fit our white family. David, torn between loyalty to Zendaya and his children's adoration for Laura, would chide the twins softly, his words fading against their defiance. Zendaya, her dark eyes reflecting both strength and sorrow, clung to the belief that her sacrifices would one day bridge the gap. Though each slight, each whispered slur, tightened the knot in her chest. Her love, though unreturned, fueled her, her heart whispering that perseverance would prevail. Family gatherings, often held in the sprawling backyard under strings of fairy lights, revealed the chasm Zendaya faced, where Laura's presence reignited old prejudices. At one such event, Laura, her blonde hair gleaming, sneered that Zendaya didn't belong in a white family story, while Alex and Olivia snickered, their eyes cold with entitlement. David, stepping in, reminded Laura that Zendaya was their rock, his voice firm but strained, unable to fully quell the venom. Zendaya, her emerald earrings catching the light, stood tall, her beauty a quiet rebellion against their scorn. She recalled Aisha's family, particularly her mother, 50, and brother Kofi, 25, whom she'd quietly supported after their father's death. Their gratitude a stark contrast to the twins' disdain. The college fund, meticulously grown through years of Zendaya's toil, was her proudest achievement, yet the twins' assumption that it was their birthright gnawed at her. Her heart, though heavy, held on to hope, believing love could mend what prejudice tore apart. As nights turned to mornings, Zendaya's routine remained steadfast, Her mornings filled with the clatter of breakfast preparations, while her mind wrestled with unspoken hurts. The twins, oblivious to her efforts, would grab their meals with curt nods, their words laced with entitlement, like when Olivia muttered, "Thanks for the cash, black lady," as she pocketed allowance. David, ever her defender, would scold them, his voice sharp but ineffective against their ingrained bias, a legacy of Laura's influence. Zendaya's sacrifices, nights spent balancing budgets, weekends lost to extra shifts, were invisible to the twins, who saw only Laura's fleeting charm. Yet in quiet moments, Zendaya's thoughts drifted to Aisha, whose dreams of teaching and fighting inequality mirrored her resilience. The contrast between Aisha's gratitude and the twins' scorn planted a seed of doubt, her heart questioning whether her love was misplaced. Still, she pressed on, her beauty and strength a beacon, hoping her sacrifices would one day yield the family she dreamed of. In the stillness of her home office, surrounded by financial records and the weight of her choices, Zendaya's resolve flickered but held. The college fund, a symbol of her unwavering commitment, stood as proof of her love, yet the twins' rejection, calling her the black bank behind her back, stung like a fresh wound. David's consistent support, though heartfelt, couldn't erase the pain of Laura's slurs or the twins' mockery, their words echoing a society that often sidelined her. Zendaya, her dark skin glowing under the desk lamp, felt the ache of unappreciated devotion, her sacrifices a silent scream for recognition. Aisha's family, with their warmth and gratitude, offered a glimpse of what family could be, their bond forged through shared struggles against prejudice. As Zendaya closed her laptop, her eyes lingered on a photo of the twins, her heart torn between hope and hurt, unaware that the coming days would force her to redefine family forever. The auditorium buzzed with anticipation, a sea of proud faces under the bright lights, where families clutched programs and cameras, capturing moments that would define futures. Yet for Zendaya, the air felt heavy with unspoken tensions. As the ceremony unfolded, the principal's voice echoed through the speakers, announcing Alex and Olivia as valedictorians, their white robes gleaming against the stage backdrop adorned with banners of achievement. Zendaya sat in the third row, her dark skin catching the subtle glow from the spotlights, her heart swelling with a mix of pride and apprehension, having rehearsed their speeches countless times in the living room, memorizing every word that celebrated their milestones. The twins stepped to the microphone, their voices clear and confident, beginning with gratitude for teachers and friends. But as Alex spoke first, his eyes scanning the crowd, he turned to thank Laura, his biological mother, for her pure white inspiration that guided us even from afar. A phrase that hung like a blade in the air. Olivia echoed the sentiment, her tone laced with adoration, reducing Zendaya to the financial supporter who kept things running, adding with a smirk that they were lucky not to rely on black relatives like Aisha, a jab that drew murmurs from the predominantly white audience. Zendaya felt a chill race down her spine, her hands folding tightly in her lap as the words struck like physical blows, transforming years of lunches packed, fevers nursed, and over time worked into mere transactions. David, sitting beside her, clapped mechanically, his face a mask of discomfort, whispering a quick reassurance that they don't mean it that way. Yet his eyes betrayed the conflict, torn between his love for Zendaya and his children. Laura, in the front row, her blonde hair perfectly styled, wiped tears of joy, her expression triumphant as she accepted the praise she hadn't earned, having reappeared only 2 years prior after abandoning the twins amid her family's racist demands. The applause thundered, but Zendaya heard only the ringing in her ears, her chest tightening with the realization that her role had been publicly demoted, her sacrifices mocked in front of hundreds who now whispered about the odd family dynamic. As the diplomas were handed out, the twins beamed under the flashes, their success a culmination of Zendaya's unseen labor. Yet their glances skipped over her, landing instead on Laura, whose embrace they sought first, leaving Zendaya isolated in her seat. The ceremony transitioned to the reception in the school cafeteria, transformed with balloons and streamers into a festive hall, where laughter mingled with the clink of punch glasses. But for Zendaya, the joy felt distant, like a performance she wasn't part of. Families clustered around graduates, offering congratulations and hugs. Yet as Alex and Olivia navigated the crowd, they bypassed Zendaya entirely, their arms wrapping around Laura in a display of affection that twisted her heart. Zendaya stood by the punch bowl, her elegant dress a stark contrast to the casual attire around her. Her dark eyes watching as the twins introduced Laura to friends and teachers as our real mom, their voices carrying a pride that excluded her. David approached, his hand on her arm, murmuring apologies for the speeches, but his words felt hollow, overshadowed by the twins' ongoing snub, like when Olivia handed cake slices to strangers before acknowledging Zendaya's presence. The room buzzed with awkward glances, other parents whispering about the unusual family structure, their pitying looks adding to Zendaya's humiliation as she forced a smile that didn't reach her eyes. Laura, basking in the attention, her red lipstick curling into a satisfied smirk, accepted compliments on her children's achievements, ignoring Zendaya as if she were invisible, a mere shadow in the narrative. Zendaya's mind raced back to the countless parent-teacher conferences she attended alone, the nights she stayed up nursing their illnesses, all reduced to nothing in this public spectacle. The contrast was stark. Laura's absentee role elevated while Zendaya's devotion was erased, her sacrifices treated as obligations rather than acts of love. As the reception wore on, Zendaya felt a shift inside, her resilience cracking under the weight of ingratitude. Yet she held her composure, her beauty a shield against the storm brewing within. Deeper into the evening, as the crowd thinned and music softened, the true sting of the day crystallized in small, cruel moments that etched themselves into Zendaya's memory. Alex posed for photos with Laura, their arms linked tightly, while Olivia distributed graduation gifts, bypassing Zendaya with a casual shrug, her eyes avoiding the woman who had funded those very celebrations. David tried to bridge the gap, pulling Zendaya into a group photo, but the twins' reluctant participation spoke volumes, their smiles forced and fleeting. Laura, seizing the opportunity, whispered to a relative about how fortunate the twins were to have a real mother back. Her words laced with racial undertones that drew nods from some, amplifying Zendaya's isolation. The auditorium's echoes seemed to mock her, replaying the speeches in her mind, where her role as provider was acknowledged but her love as a mother denied, a demotion that burned like fire. Zendaya's hands trembled slightly as she sipped her punch, her thoughts swirling with the years of packed lunches, attended conferences, and foregone luxuries, all for children who now elevated Laura's sporadic presence over her constant one. David's supportive squeeze of her hand offered fleeting comfort, but even he couldn't erase the public humiliation, his eyes reflecting regret yet unable to alter the twins' allegiance. The reception's festive lights cast long shadows, mirroring the darkness creeping into Zendaya's heart, her sacrifices feeling like chains rather than gifts. As guests departed, leaving behind confetti and empty plates, Zendaya stood alone for a moment, her beauty undimmed, but her spirit wounded. The day's events forging a resolve she hadn't known she needed. The drive home was silent, the car's interior a cocoon of unspoken words, where Zendaya stared out the window at passing streetlights, her mind replaying the ceremony's cruelties like a relentless film. David glanced at her occasionally, his knuckles white on the steering wheel, murmuring that the twins were just excited, but his words fell flat against the backdrop of their betrayal. The twins chattered in the back seat about plans, their voices buoyant with the day's success, oblivious to the pain they inflicted, their casual references to Laura as Mom, twisting the knife further. Zendaya's chest ached with the weight of unreciprocated love, her sacrifices, financial and emotional, now feeling like burdens rather than bonds. Upon arriving home, the house that once felt like a haven now seemed cold, its rooms echoing the emptiness in her heart as the twins retreated to their bedrooms without a word of thanks. David pulled her into a hug, his embrace warm but insufficient, whispering promises that things would improve. Yet Zendaya's inner turmoil raged, her beauty a mask for the storm within. The night stretched long, Zendaya lying awake, her thoughts a whirlwind of hurt and reflection, the ceremony's slights crystallizing into a profound sense of injustice. Her sacrifices, once offered freely, now demanded recognition, her spirit stirring with a quiet determination that hinted at change. As dawn crept in, Zendaya rose, her resolve hardening, the day's humiliation a catalyst for something deeper, though she kept it buried for now. The family slept on, unaware of the shift, but Zendaya's eyes, sharp and unyielding, signaled the end of silent endurance. The drive home from the graduation ceremony felt like an eternity trapped in a suffocating bubble, where Zendaya's mind replayed the twins' speeches like a cruel loop, their words reducing her 13 years of motherhood to a mere financial transaction, while Laura's triumphant embrace lingered in her vision like a mocking ghost. Her hands gripped the steering wheel tightly, her dark skin flushed with a mix of anger and sorrow, as David sat beside her, his usual supportive whispers falling flat against the storm raging within her. Though he tried to bridge the gap by acknowledging the hurt, the twins in the back seat chattered excitedly about plans, their voices oblivious to the devastation they had wrought, their casual references to Laura as mom, piercing Zendaya's heart like shards of glass, amplifying the betrayal that had been simmering for years. Upon arriving home, Zendaya retreated to the kitchen, her sanctuary of sacrifice, where she poured a glass of water with trembling hands, her thoughts swirling around the college fund she had built through countless overtime hours and foregone luxuries, now feeling like a chain binding her to ungrateful souls. David's attempt to console her, his arms wrapping around her waist, offered momentary solace. But the pain of public humiliation gnawed at her, her inner voice whispering that perhaps it was time to redirect her love to those who truly appreciated it, like Aisha, the 22-year-old black niece, whose family she had secretly supported after their father's death. As the night deepened, Zendaya's resolve began to form, her beauty undimmed by tears, her spirit shifting from endurance to empowerment, recognizing that family was not defined by blood, but by gratitude and respect. In the quiet hours before dawn, Zendaya slipped into her home office, the room illuminated by the soft glow of her computer screen, where she began researching the college fund held solely in her name, her fingers flying over the keyboard as she verified her complete control over the nearly $500,000 earned through her relentless work as a financial analyst. The fund's statements laid bare her sacrifices, each deposit a testament to skipped vacations and extra shifts. Yet the twins' entitlement had turned it into an expectation rather than a gift, their speeches echoing in her mind as a final straw that broke her silent tolerance. Turning to social media, Zendaya delved into Aisha's profile, discovering a young woman whose posts brimmed with academic achievements, workshops on combating discrimination, and heartfelt gratitude toward her black family, a stark contrast to Alex and Olivia's demanding nature that viewed Zendaya's efforts as owed rather than earned. Aisha's involvement in Black Lives Matter initiatives and her dream of teaching to fight educational inequality resonated deeply with Zendaya, reminding her of the warmth she had provided to Aisha's mother, 50, and brother Kofi, 25 after their loss. Their appreciation a balm against the twins' cold indifference. This exploration ignited a spark in Zendaya's heart, her pain transforming into purpose, as she contrasted Aisha's humility with the twins' racism, like their refusal to invite Aisha to parties because her black skin would tarnish our white family image, words that now fueled her growing determination. Memories flooded Zendaya as she scrolled, recollections of family events where the twins had openly shunned Aisha, declaring her unfit for our white gatherings, while Laura's emails to David, laced with venom about how a black wife ruins the bloodline, had gone unchallenged by the children, deepening the divide that Zendaya had tried to bridge with love. David's consistent support, though comforting, couldn't erase the cumulative hurt. His defenses against such slurs were often met with the twins' eye rolls, leaving Zendaya to bear the burden alone, her sacrifices dismissed as obligations rather than acts of devotion. Aisha's online presence offered a lifeline, her posts about overcoming prejudice and expressing thanks for small kindnesses, highlighting a gratitude the twins lacked, their entitlement blinding them to Zendaya's role in their successes. This opposition crystallized Zendaya's inner shift, her grief evolving into resolve, as she realized that true family flowed from mutual respect and appreciation, not forced bonds marred by racism. The college fund, once a symbol of her commitment to the twins, now seemed misplaced, her mind turning toward Aisha as a worthy recipient who understood sacrifice's value, her decision beginning to solidify in the quiet night. As morning light filtered through the curtains, Zendaya's thoughts coalesced into action, her pain forging a path forward where she would no longer pour her heart into ungrateful soil, but redirect it to fertile ground like Aisha's, whose life of hard work and advocacy mirrored the resilience Zendaya admired. The betrayal at graduation had unveiled the truth that the twins saw her not as a mother, but as a convenience. Their speech is a public declaration of that disdain, while David's efforts to mediate couldn't alter their core prejudices inherited from Laura. Zendaya's beauty, with her dark eyes reflecting quiet strength, masked the turmoil within, her heart acknowledging that love should be reciprocal, not a one-way street paved with sacrifices ignored. This realization marked the dawn of her transformation, her initial decision to explore, transferring the fund a step toward reclaiming her worth, her spirit awakening to the possibility of a family defined by gratitude rather than obligation. The house stirred as the family awoke, unaware of the change brewing, but Zendaya carried the weight with poised grace, her path now set toward empowerment. The morning after the graduation ceremony dawned with a deceptive calmness, the sun filtering through Zendaya's office curtains as she sat before her computer, her fingers hovering over the keyboard, her mind a whirlwind of betrayal and burgeoning resolve, determined to uncover the full extent of her financial control while the house still slept. She delved into the college fund's records, the digital statements revealing a balance of nearly $500,000, each entry a reminder of her sacrifices, from skipped vacations to endless overtime. As she confirmed the account was solely in her name, her income the sole source, granting her absolute authority to redirect it as she saw fit. This discovery empowered her dark eyes narrowing with a mix of relief and anger, as she recalled the twin speeches reducing her to a mere provider, their words echoing in her thoughts like a relentless accusation that fueled her growing determination to reclaim her agency. David's consistent support lingered in her memory, his quiet encouragement the previous night urging her to stand firm. Though even he couldn't fully grasp the depth of her pain, his white privilege shielding him from the racial layers of the humiliation she endured. Zendaya's heart raced as she navigated the numbers, her beauty accentuated by the soft light, her long, wavy hair framing a face etched with quiet strength as she pondered Aisha's contrasting life. The young black woman's resilience, a beacon in the darkness of her own family's ingratitude. Expanding her search, Zendaya turned to Laura's past, her curiosity piqued by whispers of old scandals, leading her to public records where she uncovered a lawsuit against Laura for racial discrimination at her former job. The details painting a picture of a woman who had harassed black colleagues with slurs and exclusion, yet had hidden it all to reinsert herself as the perfect mother in the twins' lives. This revelation stunned Zendaya, her breath catching as she pieced together how Laura's facade of redemption masked a history of prejudice. Her return 2 years prior, not born of genuine remorse but opportunistic charm, contrasting sharply with Aisha's authentic pursuit of justice through Black Lives Matter workshops and educational dreams aimed at combating inequality. The hypocrisy burned within Zendaya, her inner monologue a torrent of indignation as she compared Laura's deceit to Aisha's sincerity. The young woman's social media posts brimming with gratitude for her family's support and her hard work. A far cry from the twins' entitled demands that viewed Zendaya's fund as their birthright. David's voice from the kitchen, calling her for breakfast, interrupted her thoughts, his supportive tone a constant anchor, reminding her that not all in her life was tainted by betrayal, though the weight of Laura's hidden racism only strengthened her resolve to protect those who truly deserved her generosity. Zendaya closed the tab, her mind shifting to Aisha, whose fight against discrimination mirrored her silent battles, forging a bond of sisterhood across shared black experiences that the twins could never understand. Deepening her reflection, Zendaya juxtaposed Aisha's diligence with the twins' bigotry, her memory flashing to a family gathering where Alex had mocked Kofi, Aisha's 25-year-old brother, for his black skin, sneering that he should stay in his area, a comment that David had immediately shut down with firm reprimand, his defense a rare but consistent stand against the racism festering in his family. This incident highlighted the stark divide. Aisha's posts about overcoming prejudice through education and community service radiated humility and purpose, while Alex and Olivia's actions reeked of privilege and disdain. Their demands for Zendaya's money laced with racial undertones that dismissed her sacrifices as obligations. Zendaya's heart swelled with empathy for Aisha, seeing in her a kindred spirit who valued hard work and gratitude. Her dreams of teaching to uplift black children, a noble pursuit that deserved the fund far more than the twins' extravagant college plans. The contrast fueled Zendaya's inner fire, her beauty undimmed by the night's unrest, her long hair cascading as she leaned forward, absorbing Aisha's online world where posts celebrated small victories against systemic racism, a resilience that mirrored Zendaya's endurance in a family that often sidelined her. David's knock on the door, his voice gentle yet encouraging, pulled her back. His unwavering support, a reminder that she wasn't entirely alone, though the decision brewing within her was hers to make. As the research unfolded, Zendaya's empathy for Aisha deepened like roots seeking water, her thoughts weaving connections between their shared black experiences of overcoming prejudice. Aisha's advocacy worked a mirror to Zendaya's quiet battles within her mixed family, where David's defenses, though consistent, couldn't fully shield her from the twins' inherited biases. She envisioned meeting Aisha face to face, assessing her character beyond digital glimpses. The young woman's passion for equality, a stark opposition to the twins' self-centered demands. Their racism, a barrier that Aisha's gratitude effortlessly transcended. Zendaya's resolve solidified, her dark eyes reflecting a quiet storm as she prepared for the next step. Her sacrifices no longer chains but tools for change, with David's encouragement echoing in her mind as a subtle push toward action. The morning light strengthened, casting shadows that symbolized the divide. Zendaya's beauty a beacon of strength, her research not just facts but a pathway to liberation from unappreciated devotion. The sun hung low in the afternoon sky, casting golden rays through the windows of Morrison's Books, a cozy independent bookstore in the college district, where Zendaya stepped inside, her heart pounding with a mix of curiosity and resolve. Determined to meet Aisha face to face after her online discoveries had ignited a spark of kinship, the shelves lined with tomes on history, literature, and social justice created an atmosphere of quiet rebellion, the scent of aged paper mingling with fresh coffee from the corner cafe. As Zendaya spotted Aisha behind the counter, a 22-year-old black woman with light brown skin glowing under the soft lighting, her curly black ponytail swaying as she assisted a customer with a novel on racial inequality. Aisha's eyes lit up with genuine warmth when Zendaya introduced herself as David's wife, the connection immediate through family ties. Though Aisha's polite curiosity hid the scars of past exclusions from the twins' gatherings. As they chatted during a lull, Aisha shared her dream of becoming a teacher to combat educational disparities for black children, her voice passionate yet humble, recounting how she had faced mockery from white classmates like Alex, who had once sneered that she didn't belong in advanced classes because of her skin. Zendaya listened intently, her own experiences of being dismissed as the black provider resonating deeply. The conversation weaving a thread of shared understanding that made the bookstore feel like a sanctuary amid the world's prejudices. Aisha's gratitude for small opportunities, like her part-time job funding her scholarship gaps, contrasted sharply with the twins' entitlement, stirring Zendaya's empathy into a profound bond, as she saw in Aisha the resilience she had longed to instill in Alex and Olivia. The young woman's stories of volunteering at literacy centers for underprivileged kids highlighted her commitment to change, her eyes sparkling with hope despite the barriers, drawing Zendaya closer to the decision that had been brewing since graduation. As customers ebbed and flowed, their talk turned personal, Aisha admitting the financial strains on her family after her father's death. Her mother, 50, working double shifts, yet their unity was a testament to black strength that Zendaya admired, her inner turmoil easing in the presence of such authenticity. Just as the conversation deepened, Kofi, Aisha's 25-year-old brother, entered the store, his tall frame and warm smile adding to the familial vibe, as he greeted Zendaya with a nod of recognition from past family events, where he had been sidelined by the twins' racism. Kofi shared a painful memory of being mocked by Olivia at a gathering, her words dripping with contempt that he should stick to his kind, a slur that David had defended against but couldn't erase, highlighting the persistent divide in Zendaya's marriage. This revelation struck Zendaya like a thunderbolt, her connection to Aisha and Kofi growing as she saw their family as a mirror to her aspirations for unity. Their gratitude for Zendaya's secret support after their father's death, a balm to her wounded spirit. Kofi's tales of working odd jobs to help Aisha's education underscored their shared struggles against systemic racism, his protective demeanor toward his sister echoing the sibling bond Zendaya wished the twins possessed, instead of their divisive loyalty to Laura. Zendaya's mind raced with parallels, her empathy surging as she contrasted this black family's resilience with the white privilege that blinded Alex and Olivia, their mockery a symptom of deeper prejudices inherited from Laura. The bookstore's ambient chatter faded as Kofi described Aisha's determination to teach in underserved schools, her passion igniting a fire in Zendaya's heart, reinforcing that Aisha deserved the opportunities the fund could provide. This encounter solidified Zendaya's budding resolve, her inner voice affirming that investing in Aisha would honor her sacrifices more than continuing to fund ingratitude. The siblings' warmth a stark opposition to the coldness she faced at home. As Kofi excused himself for a delivery, Zendaya felt a profound link, her doubts melting into certainty, the meeting a turning point in her journey toward reclamation. Amid the stacks of books that whispered stories of triumph over adversity, Zendaya uncovered an old letter tucked in her purse, a relic from years past that revealed David's once-hidden role in shielding her from Laura's full venom, where he had confronted Laura's abandonment of the twins due to her fear of black influences from Zendaya, a secret he had buried to protect the family but now surfaced as a crack in their marriage. This discovery stirred a whirlwind of emotions within Zendaya. Her trust in David was tested, yet his consistent defenses affirmed his love, though the revelation amplified her suspicion that his support, while genuine, couldn't fully bridge the racial chasm that Laura exploited. The letter's words echoed Laura's emails about ruining the bloodline, a racism that had poisoned the twins, contrasting with Aisha's vision of education as a tool to dismantle such barriers. Her dream to teach black children empowerment resonating as the antidote to Zendaya's pain. Zendaya's heart ached with the weight of this hidden truth, her empathy for Aisha deepening as she saw the young woman as a symbol of hope. Her sacrifices mirrored in Aisha's struggles, yet met with gratitude rather than scorn. The bookstore's quiet corners seemed to hold their breath as Zendaya processed this, her beauty enhanced by the soft light filtering through windows, her resolve hardening against the betrayal that had defined her role. Aisha's return from helping a customer brought Zendaya back, their conversation flowing into shared experiences of overcoming prejudice. Zendaya feeling a sisterly bond that transcended blood, her inner turmoil shifting toward empowerment. This meeting, rich with revelations, fortified Zendaya's path, her doubts replaced by a fierce determination to honor those who valued her sacrifices. Aisha's authenticity, a lighthouse in the fog of her family's racism. As the afternoon waned, Zendaya's thoughts coalesced into clarity, her empathy for Aisha transforming from admiration to conviction, seeing in her the embodiment of hope that could rise above the kai that she had endured, preparing her for the family dinner test that would seal her decision. The young woman's tales of facing school bullies who echoed the twins' slurs only strengthened this bond. Aisha's resilience, a mirror to Zendaya's own, her dream of teaching a call to action that Zendaya felt compelled to support. With each word, the contrast sharpened, Aisha's gratitude a healing force against the twins' entitlement, her family's unity a model for what Zendaya craved. Zendaya's inner voice grew louder, affirming that redirecting the fund would not be revenge but justice, her sacrifices deserving of appreciation rather than dismissal. The bookstore's bell chimed as customers left, marking the end of their talk. But Zendaya carried the warmth forward, her spirit invigorated by this encounter, her path now illuminated by Aisha's light. The evening sun dipped below the horizon, casting a golden hue over the backyard patio, where Zendaya had meticulously set up the family dinner, her hands arranging plates of grilled chicken and fresh salads with a hope that this gathering might bridge the widening chasm in her home, inviting Laura, David, Alex, Olivia, and Aisha in a bid for reconciliation that felt both desperate and defiant. The table, draped in a crisp white cloth, sparkled under string lights strung across the oak trees, their soft glow mingling with the scent of blooming jasmine, creating an illusion of warmth that belied the underlying tensions simmering from the graduation's wounds. Zendaya, her dark skin radiant in a flowing sundress that hugged her curves with elegance, moved with poised grace, her long wavy hair swaying as she placed wine glasses, her inner thoughts a turbulent sea of anticipation and dread, knowing this night could either heal or shatter her fragile resolve. David, ever her steadfast supporter, helped with the chairs, his voice low and encouraging as he whispered, "This could be a turning point," his presence a comforting anchor against the storm she sensed brewing. As guests arrived, Laura swept in first, her blonde bob perfectly coiffed, her red lipstick curling into a superior smile that masked her disdain, while Alex and Olivia trailed behind, their casual tees and jeans a contrast to the occasion's formality, their eyes already scanning Aisha, with barely concealed contempt when she appeared, her curly ponytail bouncing with youthful energy. Aisha, dressed in a simple yet charming blouse that highlighted her light brown skin, greeted everyone with polite warmth, her presence immediately drawing subtle sneers from the twins, who exchanged glances loaded with prejudice, setting the stage for the evening's unraveling. Zendaya's heart quickened as they took their seats, her beauty a beacon of strength amid the gathering shadows, praying that civility would prevail, though the air crackled with unspoken hostilities that threatened to erupt at any moment. As the dinner commenced, conversation flowed tentatively at first, with David steering topics toward neutral ground like the twins' college plans, his supportive glances toward Zendaya affirming his alliance, but Laura's sharp interjections soon pierced the fragile peace, her voice rising as she dismissed Aisha's mention of her teaching aspirations with a scoff that such dreams are for those who fit in proper society. The twins nodded in agreement, their smirks widening as Olivia muttered that Aisha should stick to her kind, her words dripping with the racism they had inherited from Laura, escalating the tension that Zendaya had feared. Laura, emboldened by their support, turned her gaze directly on Zendaya, her finger jabbing accusingly as she snarled, "You're just a black thief robbing our white family," her slur hanging in the air like poison, reducing Zendaya's years of sacrifice to a criminal act. Her face twisted in rage that exposed the deep-seated prejudice fueling her return. Alex chimed in with a laugh, echoing that Zendaya's fun was wasted on outsiders like Aisha, his tone laced with entitlement that dismissed her devotion as irrelevant, while Olivia leaned forward, adding that black people like you don't belong at our table, their collective assault a barrage that stung like whips against Zendaya's skin. David, his face reddening with anger, immediately interjected, his voice booming that Zendaya is the heart of this family and your racism stops now. His defense a shield that momentarily silenced the twins, though Laura's glare intensified, her hatred unyielding. Zendaya felt the words slice deep, her chest tightening with humiliation, yet her defiant eyes locked on Laura's, her beauty undiminished by the venom, her inner strength surging against the onslaught that confirmed her growing resolve. The table fell into an uneasy hush, the clink of forks halting as the air thickened with conflict, Zendaya's hand trembling slightly under the table, her mind racing with the pain of unappreciated love. David's intervention hung in the air like a fragile barrier, his firm stance against Laura's tirade drawing a line that the twins hesitated to cross, though their smirks lingered, a testament to the prejudice ingrained within them, as Aisha, her light brown skin flushing with emotion, lowered her head momentarily before lifting it with quiet dignity. Aisha's voice, steady despite the tremor, broke the silence as she defended her dreams, asserting that education would empower her to overcome bigots like Laura, her words a beacon of resilience that pierced the hostility, leaving Laura shuddering in shock and the twins shifting uncomfortably in their seats. Zendaya watched in admiration, her heart swelling with empathy for Aisha's courage, the young woman's determination mirroring her silent battles, as David's nod of approval reinforced his unwavering support, his hand reaching for Zendaya's under the table in a gesture of solidarity. The confrontation's intensity waned slightly, Laura's face paling as Aisha's poise exposed the ugliness of her prejudice, the twins' smirks fading into awkward silence that revealed cracks in their entitlement. Zendaya felt a profound connection solidify with Aisha, her grasp on the young woman's hand tightening, the warmth of gratitude in Aisha's eyes a stark contrast to the cold disdain from Laura and the twins, igniting a fire within Zendaya that burned away her lingering doubts. This moment of defense and defiance crystallized the evening's purpose. Zendaya's inner turmoil transforming into clarity, her beauty radiating strength as she absorbed the hope from Aisha's gaze amid the lingering tension. As the dinner dissolved into strained small talk, Zendaya's thoughts converged on the path ahead. Her sacrifice is no longer a burden, but a weapon for change. The night's revelations affirming her decision to redirect her love toward those who valued it, like Aisha, whose quiet strength had shone through the darkness of prejudice. David's consistent protection, his voice a steady force against the family's racism, provided a pillar for Zendaya. Though the weight of the slurs still lingered, her heart aching yet empowered by the bond forming with Aisha. The twins' discomfort, their usual arrogance cracked by Aisha's retort, hinted at potential shifts. But Zendaya's focus remained on the gratitude she saw in Aisha's eyes, a rare light in her world of shadows. Laura's defeated posture, her venom spent but not extinguished, served as a reminder of the deep-seated hatred Zendaya had endured, her resolve hardening as the evening drew to a close. With the last plates cleared, Zendaya escorted Aisha to the door, their whispered exchange a promise of solidarity, her spirit buoyed by the young woman's appreciation that contrasted so sharply with the family's scorn. The night air cooled her flushed skin as guests departed, leaving Zendaya with a profound sense of purpose, her beauty a testament to resilience in the face of adversity. The shadows of evening lingered in Zendaya's mind as she drove home from the bookstore, her encounter with Aisha fueling a fire that had smoldered since graduation, her hands steady on the wheel, while her heart raced with the certainty that the college fund, built through years of her sweat and solitude, deserved a recipient who would honor it with gratitude rather than entitlement. Upon arriving, she slipped into her office, the room a haven of quiet determination, where she pulled up the banking portal, her fingers dancing over keys as she initiated the transfer process. The nearly $500,000 shifting from the twins' future to Aisha's, a decision that felt like reclaiming her power from those who had reduced her to a mere provider. David's voice from the kitchen calling her for a light supper offered a moment of normalcy, his consistent support evident in the way he sensed her turmoil and offered a listening ear, though she kept the details veiled, her inner resolve strengthening with each click that sealed the fund's new destiny. As the transaction processed, Zendaya imagined Aisha's reaction, the young woman's eyes widening in joy, her gratitude a balm against the twins' scorn. The contrast sharpening Zendaya's conviction that this act was justice, not vengeance, her beauty illuminated by the screen's glow as she composed a message to Aisha, inviting her to a private meeting where she would present the gift like a long-overdue inheritance. The confirmation email arrived with a soft ping. The fund is now irrevocably Aisha's. Zendaya's sacrifices transformed into a legacy of empowerment for a Black woman who understood their value. Her heart lighter, yet braced for the storm that would follow when the family discovered her bold move. Laura's shadow loomed in her thoughts, the woman's venomous words from the dinner still echoing. But David's unwavering alliance provided a shield, his love a constant amid the chaos she anticipated. The next day unfolded with deceptive calm, Zendaya meeting Aisha at a quaint cafe nestled in the city park, the outdoor tables shaded by blooming cherry trees, whose petals danced in the breeze, creating a serene backdrop for the life-changing revelation she was about to deliver. Aisha arrived with her usual warmth, her light brown skin flushed from the walk, her curly ponytail swinging as she hugged Zendaya, Their bond from the bookstore encounter already feeling like sisterhood, forged in shared resilience against prejudice. Zendaya, her dark eyes sparkling with purpose, slid the envelope across the table, explaining the transfer as a gift born from recognition of Aisha's worth. The young woman's tears flowing freely as she grasped the magnitude, her voice trembling with thanks that, "This changes everything, allowing me to focus on teaching without the burden of debt." The cafe's ambient chatter faded as Aisha promised to use the fund wisely, her gratitude pouring out in stories of how it would enable her to uplift Black communities, a vision that mirrored Zendaya's unspoken dreams of equity, their conversation weaving dreams of future impact that lifted Zendaya's spirit from the graduation scars. David's text message buzzed in, his supportive words encouraging her to follow her heart, a reminder of his constant backing that bolstered her amid the impending backlash. As they parted, Aisha's hug lingered, her eyes filled with appreciation that contrasted sharply with the twins' disdain, solidifying Zendaya's choice as the right path, her beauty enhanced by the satisfaction of empowering someone deserving. Tension mounted as evening approached, Zendaya preparing for the family's reaction, while Laura, having intercepted a leaked message from the bank alert, exploded in fury. Her phone call to Zendaya, a torrent of racist vitriol, accusing her of stealing from our white family like the black thief you are, her words laced with the same poison from the dinner that David had defended against. Zendaya's hands shook as she listened, her resolve hardening against Laura's slurs, the call ending with Laura's threat to rally the twins. But Olivia's secret text arrived moments later, her message a hesitant apology for witnessing the racism without speaking up, a crack in the twins' facade that hinted at potential change, yet didn't sway Zendaya's course. David's arrival home brought a moment of solace, his arms wrapping around her as he affirmed her decision, his consistent support a pillar against the gathering storm, though the air thickened with anticipation of the confrontation. Zendaya's inner strength surged, her beauty a defiant glow as she readied herself. The funds transfer a done deal that shifted power in ways the family couldn't imagine, her heart pounding with the mix of fear and liberation. The climax built as the twins demanded the fund documents for their college applications, their voices rising in the living room where family photos mocked the fractured reality. Alex's frustration boiling over into accusations that Zendaya had no right to withhold what was ours, his tone echoing Laura's entitlement. Olivia joined the fray, her shout questioning why a black outsider like Aisha deserved it instead. Her racism bared in a way that shocked even David, who stepped forward to defend Zendaya, his voice thundering that her sacrifices were hers to allocate against their ingratitude. Chaos erupted, the room a battlefield of emotions, as Alex, in a twist of confession, admitted witnessing Laura's past slurs and her abandonment fears over black taint, his words cracking the twins' loyalty to their mother, leaving Olivia stunned and Laura exposed in absentia. Zendaya stood firm, her dark eyes locking on the twins, her beauty undimmed by the turmoil, as the revelation hung heavy, the family's foundation crumbling under the weight of truth and prejudice. David's hand in hers provided an anchor, his support unwavering as the initial storm raged. The confrontation a catalyst that laid bare the racism festering within, Zendaya's decision now a beacon of her reclaimed power. The living room, bathed in the dim glow of evening lamps, became a battlefield of emotions as Zendaya stood tall, her voice steady as she revealed the transfer of the college fund to Aisha. The words hanging heavy in the air, like a verdict long overdue, igniting a firestorm from Alex and Olivia, whose faces twisted in disbelief and rage, their accusations flying that she had no right to steal our future for some black outsider. Olivia's scream echoed through the space, her finger pointing wildly as she hurled slurs about Aisha not deserving white family money. Her racism bared in a torrent that shocked even David, who stepped forward immediately, his voice booming that Zendaya's sacrifices were hers to allocate, and their prejudice had poisoned everything. His consistent support now a shield against their venom. Alex, his face paling, stumbled into a confession that he had overheard Laura's past rants about fearing black taint in the family, her abandonment rooted in racism rather than circumstance. a revelation that cracked Olivia's defiance. Her eyes widening in horror as the twins turned their gaze toward their mother in absentia, the room pulsing with the weight of shattered illusions. Zendaya watched the chaos unfold, her dark skin flushed with a mix of vindication and sorrow, her beauty undimmed by the turmoil, as David's hand found hers, his alliance unwavering in the face of his children's fury, though the air thickened with the irreversible shift that exposed the family's fractures. The twins' initial outrage gave way to stunned silence, their entitlement crumbling under the truth of Laura's bigotry, a moment that Zendaya felt as a bittersweet triumph, her inner strength surging as she affirmed that gratitude, not blood, defined worthiness. Laura's downfall cascaded like a house of cards in the days that followed, her isolation beginning with frantic calls from the twins, who now rejected her, their voices cold as they accused her of abandoning them for racist fears, a betrayal that left her alone in her apartment, her once triumphant return unraveling into solitude. The scandal resurfaced on social media, old lawsuit details about her workplace discrimination against black colleagues going viral, amplified by anonymous shares that Zendaya suspected came from Aisha's network, leading to Laura's swift firing from her job as whispers of her prejudice spread through professional circles, her reputation in tatters. Zendaya observed from afar, her heart a complex weave of justice and pity, feeling the sting of years wasted but empowered by the consequences of Laura's actions. Her sacrifices now validated as Laura's hollowness was exposed, the woman's tearful pleas for forgiveness falling on deaf ears from the twins who had once idolized her. David's role in this reckoning was pivotal, his encouragement for the twins to confront their bias, an extension of his support for Zendaya. Though the process strained him, his regret over not acting sooner deepening his commitment to change. Zendaya's empathy extended even to Laura in fleeting moments, recognizing the woman's loneliness as a mirror to her past isolation. Yet she drew strength from the outcome, her beauty radiating a quiet victory as she navigated the fallout with grace. The twins' world shattered further as they grappled with the reality of no college fund, their applications halted and dreams deferred, forcing them into community college registrations where they encountered their first taste of hardship, part-time jobs flipping burgers and stocking shelves exposing them to the prejudices they had once wielded, like when Olivia faced slurs from a customer questioning her white privilege in a diverse workplace. Alex's confession had opened a floodgate, his guilt manifesting in quiet reflections that led to tentative apologies to Zendaya, though incomplete, as he admitted the racism he had ignored. His growth spurred by the loss that mirrored Aisha's struggles, yet highlighted their past entitlement. Olivia's encounter with discrimination while helping Aisha at a volunteer event, where she was mocked for trying to play savior to black folks, served as a harsh lesson in empathy, her tears afterward a crack in her armor that Zendaya noted with cautious hope, the experience reinforcing the value of gratitude she had long preached. David's guidance through this turmoil was constant, his discussions with the twins about accountability, a testament to his alliance with Zendaya, though the family's dynamics shifted irrevocably, the twins' initial rage evolving into reluctant self-examination. Zendaya felt a surge of validation, her sacrifices no longer invisible, but a catalyst for change, her inner peace growing amid the chaos as she witnessed the bitter fruits of ingratitude. The path to dissolution of her marriage, though painful, unfolded with inevitable grace, Zendaya initiating the divorce from David not out of anger, but the realization that his support, while unwavering, couldn't overcome the familial pressures that had eroded their bond. His love genuine yet insufficient against the racism that had infiltrated their home. David's hollowness in the face of this decision reflected his regret. His immediate enrollment in multiracial support groups was a step toward personal growth, acknowledging that his earlier defenses, though consistent, had not been enough to protect Zendaya from the cumulative harm. Zendaya's heart ached with the end of this chapter, her beauty a poignant contrast to the sorrow, as she embraced Aisha as family, their relationship blossoming into a sisterhood that filled the void left by the twins' rejection. Her new connections built on mutual respect and gratitude. The twins' tentative outreach, sparked by their hardships, hinted at redemption, but Zendaya focused on her liberation, her sacrifices now redirected to foster genuine bonds. David's farewell, marked by tears and promises of continued allyship, underscored the complexity of their love, a partnership undone by external forces, yet leaving Zendaya empowered to forge ahead. The sun rose on a new chapter 2 years after the tumultuous revelations, casting its golden light over a bustling university campus where Aisha, now a confident young woman whose light brown skin glowed with accomplishment, stood on the stage in her cap and gown, her curly hair framing a face beaming with pride as she accepted her diploma with honors, her journey from financial struggles to educational triumph, a testament to Zendaya's transformative gift. The auditorium echoed with applause, families cheering for their graduates, but Aisha's eyes sought Zendaya in the front row, inviting her as the honored guest whose support had made this moment possible. Her speech weaving tales of overcoming prejudice through teaching in underserved black schools, where she now organized programs to dismantle racism and empower young minds. Zendaya, her dark eyes glistening with tears of joy, felt a profound fulfillment as Aisha dedicated her success to the woman who had believed in her when others hadn't. The bond between them deepened into a sisterhood that transcended blood, their shared black resilience, a force that had shattered barriers. David's presence nearby, though separated by divorce, added a layer of complexity, his regret evident in his supportive nod, as he had joined multiracial support groups to confront his past oversights. His growth a quiet acknowledgement of Zendaya's pain. The twins, Alex and Olivia, sat further back, their faces softened by time and hardship, having completed community college through part-time jobs that exposed them to the very discrimination they once wielded. Their apologies to Zendaya, sincere and transformative, now participating in anti-racism workshops as allies rather than antagonists. Zendaya's heart swelled with bittersweet vindication, her beauty undimmed by the years as she watched Aisha thrive. The fund's redirection, a catalyst for positive ripples that extended beyond one life. The ceremony's energy pulsed with hope. Aisha's programs already impacting Black communities by fostering education as a tool against inequality, her gratitude a living tribute to Zendaya's sacrifices that had once been scorned. In the reception hall adorned with banners and flowers, conversations buzzed with excitement, but Zendaya and Aisha found a quiet corner where the young graduate poured out her thanks, detailing how the fund allowed her to focus on studies without debt's shadow, now channeling her energy into teaching programs that broke cycles of poverty and prejudice in Black neighborhoods. Zendaya listened, her hand clasping Aisha's, feeling the weight of her decision lift as Aisha described mentoring students who mirrored her past struggles, her success a beacon that illuminated the path for others, proving that investment in gratitude yielded infinite returns. David approached tentatively, his expression one of humility forged through therapy and self-reflection, admitting his past failures in fully shielding Zendaya from the family's racism, his involvement in support groups a step toward redemption that, while too late for their marriage, honored her strength. The twins joined, their once arrogant demeanors humbled by real-world lessons, Alex sharing how a job encounter with discrimination opened his eyes to the hypocrisy of his former views, while Olivia confessed her regret over mocking Aisha, now volunteering alongside her in anti-racism efforts that bridge their fractured family ties. Zendaya's empathy extended to them in measured doses, her beauty radiating forgiveness, tempered by wisdom, as she recognized their growth as a byproduct of the justice she had enacted, her sacrifices no longer wasted, but repurposed for healing. Aisha's embrace enveloped Zendaya, their bond a new family foundation built on mutual respect, prosperity blooming from the seeds of Zendaya's generosity that had flourished in fertile soil. As the day waned, Zendaya reflected on the profound shifts, her life now enriched by Aisha's thriving career and the twins' tentative redemption, their apologies a bridge across the chasm of past hurts, though scars remained as reminders of the prejudice that had nearly broken her. David's path, marked by ongoing work in multiracial communities, showed a man changed by loss, his regret a silent tribute to Zendaya's influence, even as their divorce allowed her the freedom to embrace a family of choice. Aisha's programs, expanding to include workshops on gratitude and equity, echoed Zendaya's journey, the young woman's impact on Black students, a ripple effect that validated every overtime hour and skipped vacation. The twins' involvement in anti-racism activities, once unthinkable, demonstrated the power of consequences to foster change, their humility a stark contrast to their former entitlement, offering Zendaya a sense of closure without full reconciliation. Zendaya's heart, once burdened, now soared with purpose, her beauty a symbol of resilience as she prospered in her career and new bonds, spreading compassion that healed not just her wounds but those around her. The evening sky, painted in hues of orange and purple, mirrored her inner peace. The ceremony's echoes a testament to how one act of redirection could alter destinies. In this tapestry of transformation, Zendaya found solace in the human lesson woven through her story, where in America's diverse yet divided society, a Black woman's sacrifices and insistence on gratitude could dismantle barriers, fostering hope across races and proving that personal justice paved the way for collective happiness. Isha's gratitude, expressed in ongoing letters and visits, nourished Zendaya's soul, their family-like connection a haven of mutual appreciation that contrasted the old dynamics. David's continued allyship, though from afar, added threads of redemption, his growth inspiring others in his groups to confront prejudice. The twins' evolution, from entitlement to advocacy, highlighted the bitter lessons learned through loss, and their actions were now aligned with the values Zendaya had long embodied. Zendaya's prosperity, both emotional and financial, bloomed from this shift, her life a narrative of empowerment that encouraged others to value their worth. The chapter closed on this note of harmony, Zendaya's journey a beacon for those facing similar trials, her sacrifices eternally validated. As Zendaya's journey of sacrifice and justice unfolds, we hope this gripping tale of overcoming prejudice and embracing gratitude has left you inspired, reflecting on the power of resilience in the face of betrayal. Share your thoughts in the comments. How did this story touch you, and where are you watching from? Your insights fuel our storytelling. Thank you for joining us on this emotional ride. Subscribe for more heart-stirring stories, and we'll see you in the next video, where new lessons await.